Justin Chatwin and Margarita Levieva star in David S. Goyer's suspense thriller, The Invisible, from 2007. The movie centers on Nick Powell, a high school student who was pummeled by his peers and left for dead, leaving him in a vegetative state. Invisible to others around him as he tries to unravel the riddle of his attack, Nick's spirit is imprisoned between the worlds of the living and the dead as he lies in his hospital bed. Nick Powell, a smart and aspirational high school kid who aspires to attend art school in London, is first introduced to us in the opening moments of the movie. Nick is an avid painter and illustrator who lives in a posh neighborhood with his single mother. While Annie Newton, a classmate of his, is dating Marcus Boehm, one of his bullies, he is also in love with her. With Annie, Nick attends a party one evening in an effort to tell Annie how he really feels. Marcus and his buddies confront him, though, and beat him senseless before abandoning him for dead in the woods. Nick's spirit is imprisoned in an invisible state between life and death while he lies in a hospital bed in a coma. Nick quickly understands that in order to unravel the riddle of his attack and bring his attackers to justice, he must learn how to speak with the living. He starts to follow Annie and Marcus, studying them as they attempt to conceal their wrongdoing and cope with their guilt. Nick starts to encounter unusual and paranormal occurrences as his inquiry progresses. He learns that there are other spirits like him that are imprisoned in the in-between condition because he has the power to move things and influence the physical world around him. Meanwhile, Annie starts to wonder if Marcus and his pals were responsible for Nick's assault. Marcus resists her attempts to persuade him to admit guilt. Annie, who is in need of solutions, comes to Nick's art instructor, Ms. Riley, who has been teaching and motivating Nick to achieve his aspirations. Annie starts to piece together what happened the night of Nick's attack with Ms. Riley's assistance. She finds out that Nick had stumbled across Marcus and his buddies' attempt to steal drugs from a nearby dealer. They battered him and left him for dead in a frenzy of rage. Nick's ghost becomes more irritated as Annie gets closer to the truth. In his frustration, he starts to attack the living after realizing that he cannot rest until justice is done. He also starts to understand that he still has unfinished business in the living world and that he needs to find a method to get through his own emotional challenges in order to go on. At the pivotal sequence of the movie, Annie confronts Marcus and his buddies and coerces them into admitting to their wrongdoing. Nick, however, who has given in to his rage and frustration, hears the confession too late. Marcus is attacked by him, nearly dying as a result of falling from a balcony. Nick's spirit eventually finds comfort and is able to move on as Marcus lies comatose in the hospital. The unsettling and ominous movie, The Invisible, examines ideas of life, death, and the afterlife. It makes a strong point about the effects of violence and the value of seeking redress. The film is an exciting and fascinating excursion into the world of the unseen thanks to its dramatic cinematography and intriguing acting. The Invisible examines the difficulties of interpersonal connections in addition to its themes of justice and redemption. The movie shows how the lives of its characters are intertwined and how their deeds have an impact on one another. As a result of Nick's attack, there are repercussions throughout the neighborhood that lead Annie to doubt her own morals and Marcus and his buddies to acknowledge their own culpability. The use of shadow and light to evoke a sense of dread and anxiety in the movie's visual aesthetic is especially remarkable. The instances where Nick's spirit is seen moving through a world that is both familiar and unfamiliar are extremely powerful. The film's melancholy and ominous mood is enhanced by the score, which was written by Marco Beltrami. One critique of The Invisible is that the movie occasionally leans too much on melodrama, with forced acting and speech. However, not all viewers may enjoy the supernatural aspects of the movie, and some viewers could find the plot to be complicated or perplexing. Notwithstanding its limitations, The Invisible presents a captivating and provocative perspective on the afterlife and the effects of violence. It is a disturbing yet upbeat movie that explores the human mind and deals with themes of forgiveness and redemption. The Invisible is a must-see for anyone looking for a thriller that is both aesthetically spectacular and emotionally impactful. We would like to take a moment to thank you, our audience, for taking the time to read this movie review. We hope that our thoughts and analysis have been informative and helpful in guiding you towards your next cinematic experience. If you enjoyed this review, please don't hesitate to like and subscribe to our channel for more content like this in the future. Your support means the world to us, and we look forward to bringing you more in-depth movie reviews in the days and weeks to come. Thank you again for your time and attention, and we'll see you at the movies. If you have any movie suggestions, comment below.